Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon, episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm co-host Caliban, and my thoughts are about to short circuit.
Yes, aren't all of ours.
I mean, this episode, wow. It raises many, many questions.
Yes.
With not a lot of answers.
No. And we are a couple of magical people ready to moon prison power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is a part of the Just Enough Trope Network. Today we are talking about episode number 7, Usagi Hansei, Sute no Michi wa Kibishi in Japanese, or Usagi learns her lesson, becoming a star is hard work, which is the English translation, and So You Want to Be a Superstar, which is the English title.
The cat stays in the picture.
Yes. So, Cal, would you like to give a brief breakdown, first impressions?
I love it. Brief.
Yeah.
Star fever has gripped everyone in town.
Yes.
Because of, I don't actually know, we're introduced to some kind of star, a teenage star around the ages of our heroes.
Yes.
Named Shiratori Mikan.
Yes.
Who is an actress and in commercials and stuff like that. And she's got some kind of like ginseng energy drink
yes.
or something like that. And so we're worried about this, and everybody decides that they want to be stars. And so Naru and Usagi decide that they're going to be a twosome like idol group.
Yes.
And this is where the mind begins. The fuse is lit on the mind. They sing the theme song of the show. I have so many questions.
I know.
We'll save them. So they sing the song.
Badly.
Yes, badly. In the meantime, we do see that Jadeite is lurking around, and apparently this is the first idea that he's got about like, we could use some of this enthusiasm. I guess enthusiasm equates to energy in this case.
Sure.
So we want to drain that energy like we always do. Mm-hmm. So we send someone, the monster of the week, to go after Mikan and grab her in the shower and then like transform into her. Uh-huh. And now we're just giving it away. They start this thing called the Cinderella Caravan or something like that.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so they're going, and people are like, "Oh, I have a dumb pet trick. I have a dumb human trick." And it's like, "Oh, you're in. You're in. You can't sing. You're in. Guy doing push-ups. You're in." And tells everybody that they're in, gives them a stamp, and tells them to show up later. And like obviously, Usagi wants to do this. She gets kicked out of, or maybe she just quits her group with Naru.
Yeah,
and
they start fighting.
Brings Umino in.
Yes.
And dresses him up like a girl.
I know.
And she's like, "It's the Beauty and the Beast routine." And Umino was pretty happy with this. I hope this doesn't awaken anything in him.
Well, yeah, he is pretty excited, especially she says something that like Usagi said that like he could like pull off being a girl or something to that effect.
Yeah. Less said the better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so everybody's going to do this, and Usagi's on her way, and the whole time Luna is dragging her feet. In fact, Usagi's new idea for an act is to have, her intelligent crime-fighting cat do stupid tricks.
Yes,
and they don't even like they don't even show us like the routine. It's just. There's just like, "Have you learned your lesson?" It's like this stupid line. That's the only part we see. And Luna is basically, maybe 1% self-serving, but 99%. Why are we doing this? This is dumb. Stop this. You can't do this. Let's go home.
Yeah. And
it was like sad because it's like, Usagi has a lot of dumb ideas, but it's sort of like I feel like a Peter Parker sort of thing. Like her responsibility. She doesn't get to have fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And so, I felt really bad for her in that moment. she runs into the smug guy on the way home.
Yep.
And he's like, well, you're not going to go do that, are you? And she's like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. And she runs home. Well, by not doing that, she doesn't get, tagged with these stamps that they give all the people that go through. And so when she gets back to school the next day, everybody's rehearsing their acts. And they're all awful, of course.
Yes.
And it's at this point you have to wonder, are they really mind controlled at this point, or are they just totally self-absorbed in the idea that they're going to be stars?
It's unclear. It could go either way.
I was asking myself, all right, when does the energy start flowing here?
Right.
But my question was immediately answered because everybody has to show up at this auditorium type situation, and they're all going to be on stage and it's like a million gong shows at once. They're all going to do their things at the same time, which is really weird.
It is really weird.
And the crowd is just a bunch of weird spirit-looking things.
Yeah.
Which we find out are not real.
Right.
They're just illusions or maybe spirits. And the fake Mikan is out there, and she's absorbing the energy as we see it's coming out. And, of course, Usagi shows up at the theater. She's like, what's going on? This is weird. Transforms into Sailor Moon and is going to punish her in the name of the moon.
Yes.
They immediately starts hiding.
Yeah.
And the monster does that thing that she does, which is spits this. It looks like water on you, but then it hardens and it's like glass.
Yeah.
And she encases Sailor Moon totally in it.
Yes.
Looks like curtains for Sailor Moon, but then of course Tuxedo Mask shows up.
I know.
Throws a rose, breaks the glass, and then Sailor Moon is able to dispatch the monster pretty easily.
Yes.
And that's the end of our episode.
Yeah. So
kind of straightforward.
What did you think of this episode? A lot to absorb.
Yeah. There were little enticing bits of world building, but nothing super solid. We'll talk a little bit more about the specific details of the episode as we get into our sort of different segments that we do every week. But I thought it was average. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think wanting to be famous or wanting something that an adult has is that's well trodden ground for Sailor Moon, even at this early in the series. And so I thought that was a little, just a little average.
Okay, not out of the park.
Yeah, but seeing everybody do all their dumb tricks, and then I just don't understand what is the song. Is that Sailor V's song or something like that? The song is in the show?
I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I don't have an answer for you, and I wish that I did. I don't know why it's in the show. And I kind of lost it when I saw them doing that.
It's like in Star Trek when Captain Kirk goes to a party and they're playing like a groovy jazz version. It's like, wait, that's a song in their universe?
Yeah. And that they know all the words too, and but yet they're not neither of them are great singers.
No, that's and they're not
great at choreography. Somehow Naru is able to get Umino to do choreography better than Usagi. I don't know.
Well, she's clumsy and a bit of a crybaby. That's about it.
True. She does tell us that every single episode.
How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin. Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say you so sorry.
What? Kyoru Kyoru Miru, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode, I thought we'd talk about idols or teen stars in Japan.
Sure.
An idol, or idoru in Japanese, is largely a manufactured entertainer. Kind of think of like boy bands or girl bands of like the early 90s, like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls, that sort of thing. They're usually put together, and
there's so many of them.
Yes.
And in some cases, there's like that one group that's like 48 girls or something
there
like that.
There are actually 4 or 5 different versions of that group that are 48 members.
Right. And then you also get the idea, I don't know where I got this from, maybe from Perfect Blue, or maybe just overhearing Terrace House when you're watching it.
Right.
But there's also the idea that there's like different like seasons of them. It's like this season the new idols are coming out, and you're an idol for a couple years, and then if you can't, I mean, I guess this is true of like Disney stars too, but if you can't turn it into now I'm going to be on a detective show, then you're gone. Like you're just working in
it's very fickle.
Electronics store somewhere.
Yeah. And in a lot of the large groups, I read that girls can be anywhere from like age 12 to like 26, 27. So there's a large age range.
I'm going to look up 27-year-old idols.
Well,
I'm really
I
interested
think
in like
that
a mature sort of
right.
idol. Somebody I can talk to about politics.
You like retire, or you try to go into a solo career or what have you. But yeah, they're largely sold on their image and their attractiveness. They're mostly singers, but they can be models, dancers, actresses.
I don't know. I just framing it from the perspective of a foreign country.
Yeah.
It seems weird, but I guess when you think about it, like I didn't know who Zendaya was until she was in the Spider-Man movie,
right?
And she was, on Disney forever, or like all of the not all of them, but the main High School Musical kids have all done pretty good and gone off to careers in Hollywood.
Yes,
but up to that point, they were probably the Mouseketeers, or they were on. Wizards of Waverly Place or whatever, and so I mean, but it's just like not really being exposed to their music, not really being able to understand interviews with them or know distinguish their names from other ones.
Yes,
it just seems like there's a whole bunch.
There are, and
a certain age of teenage boys and girls to some degree go crazy for them, and in a couple of years we just do it all over again.
That is very true.
You don't want to be disposable, Usagi.
Well, right. And they often have merchandise, and these talent agencies like sell them, and they're supposed to have like a largely very emotional attachment to their fans. Isn't
it even crazier now with the internet? Because you think about streaming and social media. Before, you'd have planned appearances. You probably had like a fan letter, that who knows if you're really writing it or not. But it's like, oh, my fans, I love my fans. This is my cat.
Right.
And now you probably have to you're forced to live stream oh, I'm eating a parfait. Oh, it's so crazy. I love ice cream.
Right. Exactly. Peace. One of the most popular sort of events that a lot of these groups do is they do handshake events where people pay to shake their hands.
Do they get pictures or anything? Just a handshake.
Just a handshake.
You are guaranteed a handshake. I guess if you're guaranteed 25 seconds with Tom Hiddleston to take a picture, then it's probably the same thing. Do you know how much those cost?
I don't.
That would have been a good thing to look up.
I wish I knew how much they cost.
It probably costs a lot because our little idol in this episode, who we only meet in person like once or twice, Shiratori, makes 2 million yen a month. Which breaks down, and this isn't 1990s money. This is current. What was it? What was it called? After the economic miracle, there was a period in the 80s and 90s where the yen was lower.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's the something period. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know what it's called.
But anyway, it's so this is not exactly accurate. It'd probably be a little less, but that would be about $18,400 a month. It would come out to about $220,000 a year.
Yeah.
American.
Yeah.
Not bad?
Not bad at all. There are a lot of articles on this. If you want to read up on other information, it's out there for you. There is definitely a darker side to this.
Heisei, period.
Okay.
I should have just said it.
You were thinking
that? I knew.
Well,
anyway.
It's all good. So there is more information out there. The term idoru comes from the 1964 French movie Cherchez Idole, which was released in Japan under the name Idoru o Sagase. And the audiences really took to the main actress in that, Sylvie Vartan. And she was praised for her looks and her youthfulness and her musical talent. And that's kind of where the term idoru comes from, where they associate that with singers.
Japan.
Yeah.
I feel like Japan is, we all have, and we do it ourselves, we all have that friend who gets into something and then is really into it for a long time. And you're like,
yes.
Wow. And then eventually they grow out of it. It's like, remember when you cut your hair like that? Don't remind me. Japan is that friend. They just never grow out of it. So they're like,
yeah,
baseball,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And like, they just take it and do their own thing with it.
Run
and
with
it's
it.
going forever.
Yes.
And this is just some movie from the 60s. They're like, oh shit, we did it. This is it. And we'll just do this forever. So
I know.
It's weird.
It is.
I wanted to point out that I don't know what the Cinderella thing is, because they keep saying like they want to be Cinderella.
I know.
So my theory was, and I know this isn't in the show, but my theory was that like in addition to her commercials and stuff, like Mikan is on a show, like she's on a show called Cinderella something.
Well, that would actually make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Than opposed to them just throwing Cinderella in there. And...
Before we talk about Japanese primetime TV,
yeah,
let's talk about real quick the fact that this is in 1992 this came out, and yet
yes.
I would expect Japan to be ahead of the curve on this, but Umino has a sweet-looking laptop that he uses. Of course, they had laptops back then. They were
yes.
a fraction of the power of your cell phone now, but
right.
they existed. And he also talks about buying the poster that he got
online
on an internet store. Yeah.
Yes.
Which, again, did technically exist in 92, but
that's true.
You couldn't really get much
cutting
on the internet.
edge.
No.
Umino is ahead of the curve.
Way before Amazon, eBay might have just been a twinkle in somebody's eye.
Yes. So itadakimasu with Usagi in this episode. We don't have a whole lot except for the aforementioned energy drink that Mikan is selling at the beginning of the show, which Usagi doesn't actually buy, but she's thinking seriously of buying.
Right. And so maybe now we'll talk about Primetime TV.
Sure. Yeah.
As somebody who lived in Japan for a while, can you talk about what the Primetime TV hour is like for Japanese households? Because here in this episode, we see the Tsukino family just hanging around watching TV.
Yeah. I would say that's, it's fairly common, just like in the U.S. The large amount of shows at that hour are either game shows or like a variety show. And when I say variety show, I mean like shows where they'll have like a panel of famous guests who are famous just as personalities, and they'll talk to them about different things. Maybe they'll have somebody on to entertain them, and then they'll talk about that entertainment.
That seems similar to the British tradition of the game show or the chat show, where nominally it's, IQ or Countdown or whatever it's called. Well, I guess those are like the game shows where you have like nobody's on, right? But if you these other shows where you have celebs on,
yes,
and then you're just nominally playing some kind of game. Stephen, what's his name, is asking you. Fry is asking you questions,
right?
But there's no real like winners or losers. It's just to provide entertainment for the audience.
Yes. There was, speaking of idoru, there was a very popular idol group called SMAP. They were a boy band. They're 5 members. They actually started, I think, in the 80s and like just ended in 2016. So they were together for a really, really long time. And they had a couple of TV shows that they did just with themselves. One that was really popular and I think went into the primetime time slot was a cooking competition. So one guy would host, the other 2 guys would, or other 4 guys in teams of 2 would cook, and they would cook for a celebrity guest. And the celebrity guest would say, "This is what I want," and then they would just make food up. Like they would just come up with recipes on the spot and then the celebrity person would taste each team's, and they would pick a winner.
Right.
So
I think I saw one with Will Smith.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they fed him something. Well, they fed him some food, and then they fed him a line because he's like, "Oshi." I wanted to ask one. I want to slide back into Japanese culture. At one point, there is. Again, this feels like an inside joke. I guess I didn't get it, but there are two girls, and they're doing this. Like Abbott and Costello routine about is there a lot of syntax based comedy in Japan? All their stuff was like, I went to get some bread, which is, and the subtitles are working overtime to try to explain to you, which is pan, but the guy gave me some underwear, which is pantsu or whatever.
Right.
And so I got 2 pans, but that was like panties or something like that.
Right.
Is there a lot of comedy like that?
I think there is some. It definitely exists. I mean, I think puns are popular, anywhere you go. I think that
Not in Germany. We hate puns.
I haven't seen a whole lot of that, or that Abbott and Costello work with one comedian saying something and another comedian saying, I haven't seen a whole lot of that, but I do think it exists.
I want to find out what first, second, and third base are called in Japanese, and then see if I can manufacture a situation where they've got to figure out, because it's not going to be who, what, and where. Or
yeah, I see what you're saying.
You'd have to,
You'd have to change the joke.
Also, at the end of the button on that entire thing is Sailor Moon defeats the monster, who I hope you can tell me the name when we get to monster, because I never got a name for her. And the two girls are like, wait, are you speaking in a Kansai dialect now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Kansai Ben is supposedly more humorous. So there are a lot of comedians who are from Kansai or who adapt a Kansai dialect.
So now I want to know, is that desirable or not? Here are the trees in my flow chart.
Yeah.
Is that desirable or not? Yes, no. Was she really doing it? Yes, no. Is that a meta joke about Japanese comedians? Yeah, I think definitely
yes.
No.
Yeah. And
then is it like the equivalent of her being like, "Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are."
Yeah,
and
I think
the other girl
is.
being like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, because they live in the Tokyo area.
Right.
It's well known.
Right.
So I think maybe the joke is were you doing that? Maybe she's not from there, because if she was from there, why would her friend ask that?
She's putting it. Yeah, she's putting it on.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. To sound funnier.
Right. Say the magic word, win $100.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We are released. We can move on.
All right. So My Heart is a Kaleidoscope, where we talk about fashion and Sailor Moon. There is a lot of fun fashion going on in this episode. A lot of great options to choose from. I specifically want to call out Umino's stage outfit, which is a peach suit that is a blazer and a skirt, complete with red lipstick.
This would be the last thing you'd expect to see on an idoru stage.
Yeah.
This would be like the idoru's mother came to pick her up and take her to soccer practice or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is all calculated by Naru.
Yeah. This is true.
Yeah, it's very specific and pointed.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Mikan, or at least the fake Mikan's outfit.
Oh, the little orange number?
Yes. Yeah. With the tutu, that goes all the way up. And it's like that, first of all, let's just acknowledge the sort of institutional sexism in the society.
Yeah, yeah.
But also performative sexism. You know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean.
Because all the idols dress like children, even though they're ostensibly teens or young adults. And we're supposed to be excited about that. But I don't know if that is signifying something in particular. It looked kind of like a blend between a traditional Japanese girl costume, but also a fairy tale-ish sort of Sugar Plum Fairy type thing. So I didn't know if they were just, that's a fancy costume for a host of a show to wear, or if it ties into this supposed Cinderella show that we haven't seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see it being tied into the Cinderella thing. I do think that for idols, that the way that they look is so calculated. So I think that choice for her to wear that outfit, I think that was definitely done on purpose.
Yeah.
And like, I am on stage, I am performing, so I will wear this outfit. I think that the idols, they have a lot of kind of not everyday dress that they wear for performances. I also wanted to briefly mention Usagi's outfit, where she's wearing a green jumper and a long sleeve pink shirt with stripes on it. Which, I mean, I think that pink or purple and green get like put together a lot on this show, but I do think it's kind of an odd choice.
Yeah.
But
the kids immediately come home and just shuck their school uniform, and then bam, they're right into their sweats. Or I suppose if they were going to go back out, they'd put something cool on.
I think it is very much...
I didn't go to Catholic school, so I don't know.
Right. I think that it's very much a part of Japanese culture that when kids get home from school and when parents get home from work, you put on your relaxing clothes.
Makes
you
sense.
take off your suits, you take off your school uniforms.
Sure.
So there's a lot of sweats and relaxing outfits.
If you wore a kimono,
yes,
would your friends laugh at you? I don't mean in public, but let's say you got home, because I get why they like them, right? You get home, you go, let's throw on a kimono. I'm going to sit down and just play some video games. And then if your friend came over and he's like, we dress like a old-timey ghost or something.
I think they would think that it was weird because they're largely...
They'll grow up and they'll learn. Bathrobe's comfortable.
Well, I mean, I think they're largely worn for festivals and special events and that sort of thing.
We don't have anything like that.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I know.
I'm trying to think of like, okay, get your powdered wig on. Come on. You know what day it is.
I know. And in some ways it's it's something that's really cool because they honor that tradition.
Oh yeah, it's totally cool. It's just, we just don't have anything like that at all.
We don't have anything equivalent to it. So yeah.
Everyone dress up like a pilgrim or something.
Right.
All right.
So Villain Gauge, where we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked, and I have to disappoint you because the villain in this episode number 7, is not given a name.
Wow.
I know. It's the first time that has happened. I'm a little disappointed because she's kind of scary.
1. Yeah, sorry to...
You're already
it.
down. Okay.
No, I hated her. And after a pair of shows previously where I was just really beating myself up over like, they can't all be good.
Right.
We did it. We found one that's not good.
That's not good.
Her plan is stupid. There's a lot of stupid plans by these dudes, but
there are.
This one's real bad. I kept saying to myself, when are we going to get the energy? What a long process just to get a bunch of kids on stage. Great, you got 12 kids' energy in your little button.
Right.
Which they've never needed a button before.
No.
So why do they need that? So I'm going to put that
question.
on her. I think that's some deficiency on her part.
All right.
And she got not much else going for her. She's got that thing where she encases you in glass or whatever. I guess that's a good move, but then she goes out like a bitch immediately.
Yeah, I know.
Like she's not even looking.
I know.
As soon as that's off, Moon tiara action dead.
I know.
So
I know.
I don't. I mean, she can transform into other people.
Yeah,
which is a useful skill. But I feel like we've seen that or things like that from other bad guys. So
yeah. I mean, I did enjoy the part where Usagi had just come into the auditorium and she turns her head around and she's like, "You saw me, didn't you?" And it's like,
yeah,
oh my gosh.
The head twist was cool.
Yeah,
but other than that, I mean, this is only slightly more efficient than having people write a letter to a radio station and then you know what I mean? Like this would take forever to get the energy. So,
I know.
Come on.
Like you have to select the performers and then they have to come back another day.
Right. Yeah. And everybody makes the callbacks.
Yes.
We have to have the callbacks.
Right.
Yeah. No, one dark star.
Okay.
We can do better.
I did like that she could take on other people's looks and that she could encase people's bodies. That was pretty cool. But Tuxedo Mask throws that rose and it's done. So I gave her 3 dark stars.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. Well, that about sums up our episode 7.
Right.
Before we go, let's rate it with 1 to 5 roses,
right,
and give our English title.
Well, I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 roses.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing offensive about it. There's just nothing really that stands out. And I think I said in our last episode, I know that this is a show that goes on for a good long while.
Right.
And develops in a lot of ways, but when is it going to break out of this formula?
Right.
And I think we are right about up against the wall of what I can take, or what the show can take as far as this formula goes.
Right.
Just we are introduced to a new environmental hazard that drains the energy of children.
Right.
And how is Sailor Moon going to stumble into a victory? And like we've done that.
Yeah.
A lot. So yeah, I got to give it 2 out of 5.
Okay. I gave it 3 out of 5. I guess I was being nice. And my English title is Teen Idol Makeup, which is not even that great of an English title. But what is your English title, Cal?
My English title is The One Who Is on First Is Who.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, our next episode, we are talking about episode number 8, Tensai Shoujo wa Yoma Nano, Kyofu no Senjuku in Japanese, or The Girl Genius is a Monster, The Brainwashing Cram School of Horror, which is the English translation. Wow, that's wordy.
What is that, Senjuku? What's Senjuku?
Senjuku is cram school.
No, that's cram school.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
And the English title is Computer School Blues.
They're so lazy.
I know.
They're so lazy. What a bunch of deeks.
They're all like first pass, you know?
I know. It just blank blank blues. Got it.
Yeah, right.
Got it.
Right.
Monster Town Blues. Ugh.
I know. Well, that's it for our show this week.
Yeah.
In the Name of the Moon, we'll be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
No business like show business.